Here we are in the future. Here we are in the future, and it's wrong.
After the gems reemerge acting weird, Stephen, along with Ruby and Sapphire and Spinel, head to the silver trio of the crystal gems, Lapis, Peridot, and Bismuth. There, he finds out that the weapon that Spinel used reverted the gems back to their previous state. Stephen falls into despair because Garnet, Pearl, and Amethyst obviously can't help save the world, and Stephen himself has severely limited gem powers because the weapon also affected him. Stephen's sections in this song, at least until the very end, are dark reprises of Happily Ever After. That Happily Ever After was taken from Stephen by Spinel's entrance, so it makes a certain amount of sense that here, in his lowest moment, well, lowest moment at this point in the movie anyway, he would return to the song and sing a much less hopeful version. Bismuth, however, isn't having any of that. She points out that life as a crystal gem was never easy, and that by working together, they can find a solution, because they're crystal gems and they never give up. This song is a nice kind of in-between moment for Stephen. He's pretty much given up at this point, but Bismuth, with some help from Peridot and Lapis, doesn't let him. It's also really nice to hear from Bismuth. She's obviously been through a lot at this point, and it's nice to hear that all of the things that she's been through hasn't broken her spirit. If anything, the things that she's been through has strengthened her resolve, and it's really nice to hear. By the end of the song, they have a plan, one that was suggested by Spinel of all people, and the four crystal gems and Spinel prepare the difficult journey to bring their friends back. So, that's it for this week's song. Tune in next week for next week's song. See you then.
Exactly. So let's get started.
We'll find a way to save the day. That's who we are.
That Happily Ever After was taken from him with Spinel coming in, so it makes a certain amount of sense that his sections of the song, that Happily Ever After was taken from Stephen with Spinel's entrance, so it makes a certain amount of sense that at this point that Happily Ever After was taken from Stephen, so it makes a certain amount of sense that here, in his lowest moment, well, lowest moment in the movie up until this point anyway, he would return to the song and sing a much less hopeful version. That Happily Ever After was taken from Stephen, so that Happily Ever After was taken from Stephen by Spinel's entrance. Oh my goodness, this is apparently the sentence that I'm going to have all the problems with. That Happily Ever After was taken from Stephen by Spinel's entrance, so it makes a certain amount of sense that here, in his lowest moment, well, at least his lowest moment. Oh my goodness. Whew. That Happily Ever After was taken from Stephen by Spinel's entrance, so it makes a certain amount of sense that here, in his lowest moment, well, lowest moment at this point in the movie anyway, he would return to the song and sing a much less hopeful version. Woo! Finally got it. Took forever, but I got through it and I finished the sentence, and that's really all I can hope for.